Have fun plans for the outdoors? Make the memories last with the best outdoor coolers and drinkware. Celebrating 10 years of cool, Orca was founded in 2012, born from the idea of making a hard-sided cooler that beat out all the rest. Orca coolers are built to be as strong as the adventures you take them on. That's why they have a lifetime warranty while giving you world-class maximum temperature retention. Orca's drinkware offers the same high quality, keeping your drinks icy cold or hot for hours, and they look great while doing it. Their stainless steel, vacuum-sealed tumblers and martini cup are perfect companions for your next outdoor adventure. Go to orcacoolers.com/bourbon for 15% off your order. That's orcacoolers.com/bourbon for 15% off. Orca, make it last. Today's show is also sponsored by our friends at distilleryproducts.com. If you are a store, you're a group, you're a blog, you're a podcast, you're a distillery, whatever it is, you need laser edge glassware at wholesale prices. Reach out to me. I'd be happy to get you in touch with the whole family behind distilleryproducts.com doing amazing things. We use them. You should too at distilleryproducts.com. What you got for me, Zeke Baker?
Man, it ain't been too bad of a day. So we got this new employee at work. And, I think I've talked about it on here, how I've got, an elevated desk and a recumbent bike that, basically I get to work. I put on gym clothes. I ride the bike for a while. I get my exercise in on the clock. I'm multitasking. So I'm meandering through the pharmacy or whatever. And at some point, new girl asked one of the other employees, does he really wear that to work every day? And they're like, well, technically he wears normal work attire when he comes in. He just changes and rides his bike in his office, single yada yada. Gets Botox shots, he's just trying to hold on. And I'm like, man, really? And then so one of the girls looks at the new employee seriously, how old do you think he is? And she's like, I don't know, maybe 32. Oh, I'm like, yeah, I'm all like this employee. All right, starting off on the right track.
When I look at you, I know you're 40, but I don't understand how anybody could look at you and say 32. It's a win, right? It's a win.
Yeah, I was laughing the whole rest of the day. I just walking around. It's somebody says something. It was 32, 32, 32 bitches. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is John Edwards. With me, as always, is Zeke Baker, and together we make the Dad's Drinking Bourbon. Wherever you are, whatever time it is, thank you for making us part of your day. How are you, you young-looking son of a bitch?
I tell you what, maybe 32.
I think it's the hair.
Too. The maybe gave the best part, the doubt going on either way. Maybe, man, it's in the middle. Okay, here we go.
And is that a plus or minus 3 or plus or minus 5?
I don't know, man. I was taking it all day, though. I'll take the under, that is.
Yeah, you're I'm going to go plus or minus 3, and I'm going to say that I'm 29. She thinks I look 29. It is kind of funny, though. It is something an old man would do. If she really thought about it. I wonder about your hiring choice here, because at the same time, a guy who's going to show up to work, let's be honest, your workout clothes are not young and hip. You got big old ball shorts. It's not you're out wearing Lulu stuff, or you're not wearing trendy clothes. It's not.
Oh no, for work I have jogger shorts. It's not the ones you see me in. These are the ones I've had since pharmacy school.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. The shorts you've had are 20 years old at this point.
No, the ones I wear at work aren't. They're these new joggers I got a couple years ago.
Oh, okay. So when you say a couple years, is that 5 years or is that 2 years?
Honestly, I think 3. They were a Christmas present. But now, granted, I do also wear a long sleeve, sweat wick shirt that I've had for a while. And then also I still have the support hose on, wearing them with shorts, which is an amazing look, obviously.
Zeke does wear support hose to help his circulation in his legs. So if she were smart and she put all this together, number 1, none of his clothes are new. Number 2, he's in support hose. And number 3, he is changing at work to sweat while riding a desk bike. That's his form of working out. You put this together.
It keeps my legs feeling fresh. I feel so much better at the end of the day. It's all about quality of life, John. And technically, I've wore knee-high support hose since I got out of school at 25 because I was being proactive and taking care of myself.
But this is something that like a 40-year-old would do. This is not something that a 20-something-year-old would do.
Look, man, I'm just telling you, don't hate. Don't hate.
All
You
right.
got more gray in your beard than I got on my head.
I know I do have a very salt and pepper beard lately. And if I let the beard go out a little bit, the salt really comes out.
Yeah, I picked on that. It was a picture or something I saw the other day, and I was, Jesus, like, man, Edwards is getting some gray in that beard.
It was normally on the sides, like just on the sides. And now I'm like looking at it. I'm like, so here's the question that I really have to ask myself at this point. Do I dye my beard or no? Do I just let it go or do I try to naturally kind of color it?
I mean, I think the harder question is, can you do it without people noticing it?
I know.
There's nothing worse than like miscoloring or something else. And I'm not saying I've done it, but like, you know, when you see that person, when like, it's one thing to have the grays or whatever, or like say you're bald and wearing a toupee. Like it's one thing to like be there, but then to be like actively trying to completely cover it up, but be noticeable, that's just the double fail.
Well, that's why I just shaved my head in the first place. Like I didn't want to be one of those guys that tried to hang on. I was like, I'm just going to own it. So the problem I have is not yet being 40. Do I want all this gray in my beard or do I want to try to hold on maybe until I'm after 40? But then the conundrum I have in my head is like, I don't want it to be noticeable. So if it's going to be noticeable, I'd rather just own it.
Then you got to factor in too the fact you keep the beard, you know, they're going to grow out. You might see like an underlayer, almost like you know, in a chick, you can see like where her roots are into the highlights or whatever.
Yeah, I get it. Like an ombre. I can ombre my beard.
It's a lot to think about. Better you than me.
I know. So tell everybody we went to KBF. Tell everybody what you thought about that. I mean, we had a whole weekend. We went to the Bardstown White Party. I went to KBF on Friday. You went to KBF on Saturday. I went to Bourbon and Beyond on Saturday. But I mean, we're going to have David Mandel on. We will talk about KBF and give a full recap here at some point. But like all I'll say, and then I want to hear your thoughts, bigger than last year, better than last year, better food than last year. Those taco trucks were awesome. I just had a good time. I thought they did a very, very good job putting things together. A lot of the upsell things, like they had a very good thing with Michter's on Sunday. I went to a Bardstown thing on Friday. I know people enjoyed the Beam thing that was there. So they had a lot of good events. They had a lot of good exposure and so many people were there. I mean, it was like a big reunion. It was awesome.
I thought that everything seemed more open and more accessible. Like, you know, the lines getting in and out were so much easier. Just the functionality of everything seemed to flow a lot better. And the booths were in, you know, a similar setup, but obviously the weather was much better than last year. You know, there wasn't the rain, like the sogginess and kind of all that going on. I think honestly the only ding I had that popped in my head over and over, and I legit wondered if they did something just for the fest to like, why you do it, I don't know, but who knows? But man, there wasn't a minute of any part of the weekend that I did not smell white dog from the time I got out at the hotel.
I know, right?
I mean, the first time it caught me, I literally like choked, like, Jesus, like, is somebody just still in the parking lot over here? We got some shine coming on or something? Like, what the hell? I literally wondered if it was part of the festival or not. I can't remember if you or someone else told me, but apparently Bardstown's been that way now for a few months. I guess Barton's increased production, and they are just pumping and cooking so much that the whole damn town just smells that way all the time now.
I love that smell. It's like, you know, when you go to the beach and you get that beach smell and you pop open your sunroof and you're like, I smell like I'm at the beach. Like, you know, that I just kind of, when we got out of the car, I was like, man, this is great. Like I was at the hotel and I was far away and I could still smell it.
Well, the thing I wondered, because like on most of the distillery tours, there's that part when you go out the back or whatever area is downwind, from where the stills are, and from the white dog being in the air, there's that bacteria that grows or fungus. Can't remember what it was.
the black mold.
Yeah. I mean, is that going to start just popping up all over houses in Bardstown? Because I mean, if it's noticeable enough of a smell throughout the city, I mean, where we stayed was not close to Barton. So if that's coming off of Barton, I mean, that's got to change the air quality to a degree. And literally by quality, A, the smell, but B, imagine being a homeowner and like all of a sudden your whole house just has this black mold growing on it. You can't explain or like why.
Well, and if black mold starts growing on houses, like this isn't funny because if you're a homeowner in Bardstown, you potentially could be very upset here. But if black mold starts growing on your house, is Barton going to pay to clean it off, or is this just the price of living in Bardstown?
I mean, I think it's time we go in the pressure washing business.
I mean, let's do it.
Somebody's going to have to get paid up there.
DDP. Dad's doing pressure.
But no, like it's got to pop in your head though, right? Because that smell, I mean, it was staunch.
It was. It absolutely was staunch.
Oof. I don't know. Again, like I really wonder, like, did they just do this for the weekend to make like Bardstown like even seem more like the bourbon capital, or is it really like, we're not up there a ton, but over the years we've been up there and spent time enough to know like this is not a normal smell.
I mean, we're at
Friday,
least
Saturday, and Sunday night, morning, middle of the day, like it was noticeable.
We're at least there 4 or 5 times. We try to go more, but we're at least there 4 or 5 times a year. At least doing a pick, like driving through. And I mean, like we could be doing a pick at Russell's or Four Roses or wherever, but you always stop in Bardstown on the way. Like you're just seeing what's there at the gift shop. You're going to get a bottle, like you're in Bardstown. This was noticeably different. It was almost like, first thing I thought to myself, I'm like, is this like NFL Stadium and you're pumping in noise? Like, are they pumping in the smell just for the festival?
Exactly. Like, I mean, it seems so just, I don't know. I mean, in your face that it's like, is this fake? Like, come on, who's doing this? Like, who thought this idea up? But speaking of, if you're passing through and, things you should definitely do for anyone that didn't see the social media plug, our good friend, Carlos that runs La Herradura there in Bardstown. If you're in there, go by. Food's great. Bourbon is amazing. Saturday night, I was in there, he and I just hanging out. He had 2 of those, 16-year Four Roses single barrels that just came out, a small batch LE. He had the new Knob Creek 18-year.
Does he still have any DDB picks left, or are they all poured?
Should be some, and there's stuff we have in the hopper. I certainly plan to replenish. He's always good to us, so we try to be good to him, but literally can't say enough nice things as far as staff, food, and obviously the bourbon that's on hand there or any other beverage you're looking for.
Absolutely. You got to go visit Carlos. I will say I went to Bourbon and Beyond on Saturday. It was absolutely It was absolutely insane. And I had an amazing time. Like just Pearl Jam, what could you say? There was 144,000 people there, Zeke. And I just had an incredible time on Saturday. I'm sorry I ditched you, but I'm so glad I did. And it's tough, right? Like one of the things that we got to talk about is those 2 festivals going on at the same time makes it very tough for people that are going, but also for the brands because they have to have people in both spots. I mean, it is tough. Like they need to figure out a way to split those 2 apart.
Well, and especially looking at the lineup that Bourbon and Beyond had, I mean, that concert series alone, I don't care if you never drank bourbon in your life. I bet there are a lot of people that are in that boat that went to those shows
that just were there for the lineup.
Stellar. Yeah.
Yeah.
They were like, I don't know what Bourbon and Beyond is, but I know so-and-so, so-and-so, and so-and-so's playing on Saturday, and I got a ticket. Like, F it. I'll go find some vodka somewhere or something, I'm sure.
Oh, I mean, they have everything. They had, I mean, it was stadium price for the beer, right? The beers were not cheap. The drinks were not cheap. I probably spent way too much money there, but it was a blast. And I had a blast.
That's what seemed.
Oh, sorry.
I was gonna say that, but that's to me is what seemed annoying about it. I guess maybe that's the best. Maybe not the best word is annoying, but anyway, the fact that the majority of that could go on any weekend. Like if you had that lineup next weekend, next month, next whenever, the majority of that 144,000 people, they were going to be there. I really don't think it was bourbon influenced more than it was, or as much as it was bourbon coincidentals. So like, why compete? Because you're to a degree, you're pulling from the same audience, but you're really not. You're spreading the distilleries thinner, their employees thinner. They can't dedicate staff to one space because they got to do two. And then the few people that were in the bourbon crowd, they got to pick one or the other. I mean, yeah, you could technically go from Bardstown to Louisville, and it's not the worst commute or whatever. But you know what I'm saying? Like for one event to be completely dedicated to bourbon, the other one have a looser tie to it. Why try to compete and pull? Why not make it easier on everyone so that the people that did do KBF, because they were a little more dedicated to it or saw it as a better event, but obviously still want to go see a sweet ass concert or a weekend of concerts, like do both. I don't know. It just didn't make sense to me.
Yeah. What I will tell you is though the panels and all that at Bourbon and Beyond, the panels were very bourbon focused. You know, like Fred Minnick was doing stuff there. They had panels that were going on during the day. So like you could go see, you know, my friend Brandon, my friend John were on a panel. So there's stuff like going on.
Well, KBF had that. I mean, when I was there Saturday, there's Chris Morris.
Yeah.
And, Fred on stage, and I can't remember right now, but you know, they basically had 4 old time master distillers that have been doing it for longer than most people, knew more than most people, and a large audience, you know, attentively listening and asking questions and stuff. So, I mean, you almost have to wonder, like, did they have to shuttle those people back and forth? Because, you know, they really didn't want to miss one or the other in the audience, and you're trying to, you know, capture that as far as like business down the road. I don't know, man. It just makes shit easier these days, not tougher. Like, we all couldn't get out and do things for 2 years, and now you're going to have an amazing events on the same damn weekend. Like, no, don't be a dick. Come on.
Yeah, I get it. Hey, moving on. What I want to talk about real quick. I know that we're on Pix app, and we've talked about being on Pix app, and you all can go get Pix app. It's only on Apple right now. We are working on getting it out on Android as well. But the Pix app is, you know, you could do tastings, you could do posts. We just updated the app. We got some feedback from people. We just updated the app so that you can now tag people in comments. And the whole posting feature, I've seen the sneak preview. It's in development right now. The posting is going to get a hell of a lot better. The cool thing that we haven't even really talked about, though, is like the tastings. Once you start to enter more tastings in there, it'll let you know whose palate is closely aligned to you. So when somebody's posting, it can, like, for Zeke, it can be like his palate is a 20% match to yours. Whatever it is, right? Like it will start to pop up, and you'll start to find other people that have similar palates to you. You can find whiskeys. It'll be like this whiskey according to what you've tasted and what you've liked before. I think you're going to like this whiskey. So the app brings some AI into it and can kind of lead you in the right direction. So go to Get Picks, join the club. There's no club yet, but, you know, join the club of people that are going there and play around with it and tell me how we can make it better, because I'm working directly with Picks and I want to make this be a place, you know, man, our reel, you don't know this, I didn't tell you this, but our reel from La Horadora, like, got Facebook and Instagram mad at us. And they said it went against policies. And I'm like, all it was a simple scan of bottles on, you know, the table. How's that going against anything? So then I had to review it and I had to go through the whole thing with them. Pix is a place by enthusiasts for enthusiasts, and your stuff is not going to get banned. So, like, you're not going to get in trouble for posting alcohol. You're not going to get in trouble for tasting alcohol. Go to Pix, help us make that better, because we want to make it a place where we can go and know that our shit is not going to get taken down. So that is my big, sell on that. But
no, that's pretty funny. I mean, think about ads and TV, other media, like billboards driving down the road. It's not like alcohol is not a huge industry, just that, it advertises everywhere. Like, what's the problem with showing a bottle with a stopper in it sitting on a table? I'm not sitting there saying counting to 10 on a chug or throwing it back. Like, I don't even show myself drinking. I'm just showcasing the merchandise.
Yeah, there's nothing that was even like poured. It wasn't even poured in there. It was just a scan of the bottles. I do like that Zeke finally sent me a video. Somebody was like, did Zeke make a reel? I'm like, I don't think he knows how to make a reel, but he sent me the video. I edited, I clipped up the video in the beginning and the end and tightened it up a little bit and made a reel from it. So it was kind of like an assist. So Zeke gets a 0.5 for that one, and congratulations.
Hey, I'm getting a little better. I haven't even downloaded that app. I just haven't created an account yet.
Well, I can't wait for that. I can't wait till you start doing that. That'll be fun. Anyways, we are drinking today. We're drinking Old Forester Birthday Bourbon. I know there's a lot of people that have listened for 20 minutes and they're like, man, we really want to hear about Birthday Bourbon. That being said, it was the biggest weekend in all of bourbon last weekend, so we had to get past that. But we are drinking the annual release of Birthday Bourbon, the 2022 release. So the interesting thing, this already happened, but the crazy thing about 2022 Birthday Bourbon is that it was not sold like normally. It was a sweepstakes only. So, I mean, if you remember last year, that huge line down at Brown Foreman in Louisville at the Old Forester Distillery, it was crazy. I mean, like Jackie was there giving out donuts to people. There was a huge line of people. Now this was released completely with the sweepstakes where, you went to a website, you put your email in. I did not get it. You did not get it. But this is 11 years at 96 proof. It is the 22nd release of Old Forester Birthday Bourbon. So it is the namesake that honors the founding year of when George Garvin Brown started the company in 1870. So this is 11 years, 96 proof, as we talked about. And the MSRP is now $150. I think last year it was $129.99. I believe it is up to $150 now. What did you think about this whiskey, Zeke Baker?
So the age and the proof has gone down from last year, right? Because they kicked it up for 2 years in a row? Sorry, just making sure I get all my facts straight.
It was 12 years last year. This year it was 11. It was 104 proof last year. This year it's 96.
I think it's always been 12 until this year, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Interesting. And I mean, it's also going to distro, right? Or do they literally sell it only out of that other means?
I don't know all of that. I had problems.
Yeah, no. I was just asking because the way you first said it, I'm like, well, surely they sent it to distro. I mean, you have to, right? Like, I just asked to say I asked.
I mean, but I think it just said. I think
we're all safe to assume it went to distro in some format.
I have to think so.
Yeah. I mean, it's too big of a release. And I can't imagine retailers and distro and everybody else not getting mad. Like, you're not going to send us this? Like, this is what we leverage other products with. Come on, man.
Yeah, I'm reading a whole thing on it right now on Forbes, but I can't figure out. I think it was just the stuff that was going to be at the distillery only, but it doesn't say anything.
I mean, that would
Doesn't
make
say
sense
anything
to
about
do a
anything
draw
else.
or whatever, so people know not to show up if they're not going to get a bottle. Versus, everybody and their brother waiting for something that may or may not be there. Any rate, tasting notes on this little feller. At the very initial front, hazelnut, maybe. Almost thought maybe like a little amaretto-ish. It's some kind of like sweeter type nut that I couldn't exactly put my finger on, but I feel like it'd be something that people flavor coffee with, kind of thing. Again, that was just a flash at the front. But I thought that the char really hit at least by mid palate, if not sooner. It was fairly thin, which, given the proof, kind of makes sense. And then, I mean, I honestly thought that even that char note that dominated most of the profile, it was, gone beyond the middle. It kind of, it does have a finish, but it's really a minimal finish of just light char residue. Tasted it a few more times, and granted, I haven't had this in forever because it wasn't necessarily my cup of tea, but I thought this kind of reminded me of a tamer version of Woodford Double Oak.
I love the episodes where I say, like, listen, we're doing this the night before we're releasing it, so let's try to, like, get it right. And you just sit there going, well, let me...
Sorry, I was going to get some water, but I was mid-reading. Like I was reading the notes.
You were smacking your lips a lot. I thought it was super fruity on the nose. I got lots of berries with like almost like a twist ice cream, like the vanilla and chocolate together. The longer it sat, the more baking spice I think comes out on this too on the nose. But super fruity, just like berries, like raspberry, blackberry, strawberry on the nose. The taste, I got a fair amount of pepper and spice with some chocolate, but you really got to swish it around to get that pepper and spice in there. And I think the proof has a lot to do with the 96 proof, but I think there's a good amount of rye that's still in there because I get like the Pop Rocks. And yes, there is a okay amount of rye in Old Forester, but I almost get that like Pop Rocks feeling on my gums and the roof of the mouth. I think it wasn't too thin. It was thinner. It wasn't too thin, and I think that 96 really came out, but it's slight oak, not too much. The finish really stops before it even gets down your throat. Like the second it hits the back of your mouth, it just poof. And so I didn't really get too much of a finish, and I didn't get too much oak. I enjoyed the pour. I think the question I always have with this now, knowing that MSRP for birthday bourbon used to be $79.99, the question I have for myself is this $150 pour at this point with what's being released, or is this still a $79.99 pour, or does Old Forester kind of screw themselves because if you're going to have something like this and put it next to Prohibition Batch or Prohibition Blend, does this really kick Prohibition Blend's ass that bad?
I mean, to me, it would be tough, and I don't have a bottle here for a pour, but I mean, I think this stock Old Faux 100 proof after 2 to 4 ounces, you damn sure aren't going to know much of a difference. Like your palate's just going to be aligned into that profile. And if you had one in your left hand, one in your right, you'd probably forget halfway into the pour, like, which one did I put in which hand? Did I write that down somewhere? Shit, I don't remember.
I get it. I mean, I like it. The thing I will say is I like it. I thought I liked it better than last year's release. Just, the notes on here. I did last year I got a little bit of chalk. And I did not get that chalkiness this year. It's a good pour. I just don't know if it's a $150 pour, but if you have that discretionary income, like, go ahead and get it. I don't think you're gonna like hate it. I don't think you're going to be disappointed by it. For the price, I don't know.
It's on the verge of chalky too. I agree. It's not quite there, but somewhere between, I think, going with 11 year instead of older, or that's why they proofed it down more. It could be there. You know what I mean? It's got enough DNA to where that chalkiness could come out depending on where it was.
But like, I love Old Forester. I want Birthday Bourbon to be my favorite. And I think it's like the magic of Old Forester with, 1920, 1910, the 100 proofer, some of the stuff they do in the presidential series. Like, it's like Birthday Bourbon is there. But when I think of Old Forester, I'm thinking of those other blends first.
I could see that. And, one of the notes I put down, just more of an Old Forester thing than this specific product was simply, they're both owned by Brown-Forman, Jack, and Old Fo. So with all the innovation and everything that's been pumping out of Jack lately, it almost seems like the focus hasn't been on Old Fo as much for the two flagship brands.
I could see that. I mean, I think, but, with Chris Morris kind of doing more stuff with Old Fo and you have Chris Fletcher doing more stuff with Jack, and I know they bleed over and I know that they go visit all the other distilleries, but do you really think like Chris Morris is that invested in what's going on in Jack that he's not paying attention to Old Fo? Because I don't think so.
I mean, you or I didn't have a brother growing up that was roughly the same age as us that we could theoretically play sports against or compete at whatever. But in that sense, this is still the same family, still your two flagship brands. You don't think one side knows what the other's doing and sees who's getting the press and see who's technically hot or not? There's got to be competition somewhere in there. And I guess even maybe to more of a degree, what innovation they've come out with, there's been some good stuff, but it feels like Birthday Bourbon is just kind of like forgotten almost. Like they put it out every year. Here it is. We got a neat shaped bottle, almost like Willet Pot Still or something. Like it carries this legacy because it's been around for forever. People know about it, but how much time or effort are we putting into this release?
I don't know. I think they put a lot into it. I really do. I just think for some reason, maybe it's the age. Maybe if you put this at 8 year, you can up the proof a little bit more. Like I would kind of think like maybe keep the proof around 112 if you want to have 12 in there. And
you do got to factor in heat cycling in warehouses. Brick warehouses, they're heat cycling. I mean, I think it's going to make a difference one day. I've thought that for some time. Could be wrong. Won't be the first time. Won't be the last. But I'm still sticking to my guns on that one.
We're wrong a lot of the time. But all I will say is, for me at least, if you have $150 and you want to spend it, go ahead. I think the secondary, what the secondary is going to fetch for these is not going to be worth it.
No. And I would even say my asterisk to if you have the 150 or whatever you said that the bottle cost, get it and gift it. Probably going to resonate real nice with somebody way more than it will if you open it.
Give it to a friend that had a kid. Do something like that. Do something positive in the world. But
they'll appreciate it, and you'll feel better off for having done the good deed, and also for drinking another Old Forester product.
But I do like this one better than last year. I will say, I do like it. The 2021 did not hit me in the feels. This one is getting me a little bit closer. I think I just want the proof a little bit higher. But anyways, thank you, Old Forester, for sending us this way. Or sending this to us this way, walk this way, talk this way. I don't know. It's late, Zeke. So the folks can go ahead and find us on Facebook at Dad's Drinking Bourbon, Twitter at Bourbon Dads, Instagram at Dad's Drinking Bourbon. Please leave us an open and honest review, just like we leave open and honest reviews about the whiskey we drink. Where else can the folks find us, Mr. Baker?
Good old Nashville, Tennessee.
Cheers.
Ciao.